Hi, welcome to Unit 2. This unit is linear functions and their graphs. So in this unit we're going to learn how to use the equation of a function to determine the shifts in a graph. So it'll be interesting to see when we just look at the function, we could be able to tell how that graph is going to move up, down, left, right. So in the lessons in this unit, the first two units, slope of a line and slope-intercept form of line, are review. So you will not have quizzes on those first two lessons. Then we're going to look at different types of functions. Over here are examples. We've got a piecewise function. This is when different areas of the graph look different because they have different functions associated with certain parameters. Then we're going to look at absolute value functions. Those are the ones that look like a V, square root functions, and exponential functions. The other thing with all of those, we're actually going to be looking at translations. So you're going to understand what the graph looks like and then how it's going to move when we add, subtract, different things like that. So this is also a GVC unit. GVC stands for Guaranteed Viable Curriculum. So that means this is one of those things that's really important for you to know, not just for this unit, but as you go further in this course and in math, this is one of those things that we really want you to understand very well. So please reach out to me if you're not getting it, you're not understanding, you need extra help. This is one of those times we really want you to know what's going on. And so the GVC is I can use equations of functions to analyze their graphs. And at the last, because it is a GVC unit, we're going to track some data on this. And I want, at the end of three of the lessons, the last three of the lessons, you will fill out a Google form. And on this Google form, it will ask your name. You'll get to choose the section you took the quiz on, and you'll do it for all three sections. And talk about, answer the questions, how many times you took the quiz, what your grade was. And then the other thing for this is you get extra credit, optional, for this unit if you turn in your notes. Now, notes can be handwritten. They can be on the computer in any form, a Google Doc, or any way you want to organize them, or you can use the guided notes feature in your Edgenuity course to take those notes, which is a really handy way to do it. Once you've taken your notes, you can take a picture of it or save it to your Google Drive and then make sure that I have access to it in order to get credit for that. I'm going to show you how you take the notes in Edgenuity. It's called the guided notes if you're interested in that. So when you come to your courses, I'm going to take this course, for example, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to look at something like this. And right here it will say View Guided Notes. So when you click on View Guided Notes, it's going to pull up, it's kind of like your textbook for the course. It's going to pull up all the notes that will walk you through what's in the video, everything that they say. And there's places where you can either print this out, some students choose to do that and hand take their notes, or they just choose to have two screens open and just be watching as they're following along with both of them. You can get what's called a CAMI extension, and if you do that, what this does is it enables you to actually write on this as if it were your handwriting. So it can take a PDF and it'll say, if I use the text feature, I can just type in here, and whatever the lesson question was, it'll say, what is blah, 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 and I can write in my notes there. So this is, and then once you get to this point, you can save it to your drive, and then you can save it that way. So the guided notes are an excellent option if you're interested in taking notes that way. Okay, the next thing you need to know is calculator use. Now last unit we used a scientific calculator on Desmos.com. This time we're going to use the graphing calculator feature. Now if you have a graphing calculator at home and you've used it before and you're really comfortable with it, you're more than welcome to use that. But if not, and even if you have, this is a great functionality tool. You can click on graphing calculator right here, or we can go up to math tools and choose graphing calculator. Here's our graph. And then right over here is going to where we're going to write our equations. So down here is a keyboard. Now you're always welcome to type on the keyboard. That works fine. But if you want to get a keyboard, it's right here. And there's certain functions that we're going to be doing. So if I wanted to write y equals, and then this right here is the absolute value, because we're going to do absolute values of x. And there it shows you that y equals the absolute value of x. What's really fun about this is you can write a different equation, y equals the absolute value of x plus 3. And then you can see side by side what those graphs look like. You'll notice they have different colors, and you can turn them on or off to do that. So I would play a little around with this calculator. They're also going to be, we're going to make sure that you know what the difference, if I want to get out of the absolute value, so it's the absolute value of x and then plus 3, you can use these arrow keys right here. And once you're on the other side of that line, then you write plus 3, and it's a different graph. So make sure you're looking at that closely. Or you can use the arrow keys on your computer as well. We're also going to look at y equals 2 to the x. That's an exponential function. You can even write different things in there as well. And also the radical function, which is right here, y equals the square root of x. Again, if it's underneath the radical or outside the radical, you want to make sure you're careful, because if I do one, they are very different graphs. So make sure everything that's underneath the radical, whatever your problem says, and use the arrows over if you need to do different. So play around with that graphing calculator. I think it's super fun to use. Okay, and last, the key word for this unit is graph. So when you go back to your Edgenuity course, you need to type in graph, answer a couple of questions, graph is one of the answers, and put that in your submission box, and then you're ready to get started.